If you're feeling like you're not getting the full picture from the British state and the media on the crisis and the conflict, and some are saying the start of the civil war in the UK right now, well, let me tell you, you're not wrong. I've been analysing the media. There's definitely a shift in messaging from the government and some of the mainstream media. So what I'm doing today is this video is about the media that are covering the growing crisis in full. So you can have somewhere that's been verified by me, a qualified journalist, that you know, okay, this is where I need to be going to get my full facts, the full picture and the news.
Across the globe by millions. And
it really helps to have more subscribers on this channel. So please subscribe to my channel. A lot of you are watching this right now who are not subscribed. So it's free of charge. Do me a favor. Takes 2 seconds. Hit subscribe now. Thank you. Firstly, why should you even listen to me? What do I know about journalism? Now, I'm not saying I'm the best journalist in the world at all when I'm giving you this bit of advice, but I'll at least tell you what my credentials are as to why I think that the British public and the state have changed their messaging, just so that you know the full picture of exactly what's going on. So I'll just tell you where I've worked as to why I've come to this conclusion and why I'm recommending some other media that are not the traditional media that I would normally watch, okay? So, first of all, I've worked as a journalist at BBC TV News and ITN Mainstream National News, just ITV News, BBC One's Watchdog, Channel 5's The Right Stuff, BBC News Hard Talk. I got an article in the Daily Telegraph. I worked on BBC One Brassed Off Britain, which is like a consumer rights show. I used to write rugby reports for the RFU, the Rugby Football Union. I did presenting for Oxford Local Radio. I've also written for PR Week. Why I've come to this conclusion, watching what's going on the news, and why I think the public is being manipulated. Now, let me tell you, I didn't actually watch hardly any, if any, of these shows and podcasts before this crisis over the last few months has grown in the UK. But here's my list, and it's in no particular order, I will say that. So the first one is GB News. Now, I know GB News quite a bit. I've got a lot of clients on GB News. I've helped them get on GB News live in the studio. I've helped them do interviews from home. You know, different experts. I've helped a lot of people get on GB News over the years. And then sometimes I've watched it and I've liked it, and then they'll do something. I'm like, oh no, I don't like them anymore. Then I'll be like, oh no, that was really good. You know, you'll see something on YouTube come up and you're like, that was actually really good. So what I'll say about GB News with this conflict, they are completely not gaslighting the public. They are covering it in full. Their journalists are challenging all the questions. All the comments from the experts that they're interviewing. They are just on it like a bonnet. And whatever that actual means. Yeah, they've had Patrick Christie's go to France, and he's seen an Afghan soldier ferrying people over on boats or taking them to the boat to go across in a dinghy across the channel. Now remember, Starmer has let in thousands of Afghan refugees. He didn't announce it though, and it was uncovered that he'd done that. And then it's been uncovered even more that a lot of they're not just Afghan refugees, they are Afghan soldiers, military. Thousands of them have come in the UK in the last few months. So the work that GB News have done, and they're all over the UK, they've got the finger on the pulse, they are on it. And so you can really trust GB News to be putting out there exactly what's going on with the UK conflict. And they're spelling it out exactly as it is. For example, 2 men died on the back of the Manchester synagogue attack, which the Islamist attacker carried out. And then there was injured people as well. Keir Starmer didn't call it an Islamist terror attack. He didn't call it jihadis. He just said terrorist attack in a synagogue. There was his words. He just called it terrorist attack. So for all we know, it could have been any kind of terrorist attack. So already that's showing you the language from the government is almost they've changed the language since the new government has got in power. They're not using the words Islamist or jihadi or anything like that. Now, why is that? Well, I think I need to do another video on that.
Good evening. Earlier today, on Yom Kippur, the holiest day for the Jewish community, a vile individual committed a terrorist attack that attacked Jews because they are Jews, and attacked Britain because of our values. The attack in Manchester this morning is absolutely shocking, and all of our thoughts are with those affected. I'm on my way back to London. When I arrive, I will chair an emergency COBRA meeting.
It's a big problem why they're not doing that. And remember, a lot of the reasons why Starmer is in power is because he's got a lot of votes from Muslim people. Now, let's remember, though, just because somebody's Muslim doesn't mean they are supporting any of this violence at all. There are a lot of Muslims in the UK are completely peaceful. They condemn all of this violence that's going on, and they've come here to this country, some of them, to have a better life and to live in a Christian country, but to quietly, assimilate, and they're wearing clothes just like me. We don't want to, prejudice people like that who are just here to improve their lives. Some of them are apostates, which means they've left Islam and are no longer practicing that religion. And some of them are just more westernized. Now, the next one is the European Conservative. And Harrison Pitt runs that. And his podcast is called The Forge, Forge. Harrison is very well educated and very intelligent. The way he speaks is very measured, very knowledgeable about history. Because at the end of the day, what's happening now, we can learn from history with this. And we can learn from what other countries have faced and how it's happening here, because history repeats itself. So when he interviews people, he talks from a space of knowledge. So Harrison went to the University of Cambridge and studied philosophy, political thought, and intellectual history. And he also studied English literature as well at Durham. And he's an English teacher, or he was, in Africa. So no wonder he's got a good grasp of English. And he really comes across as very measured. And so I recommend watching his podcasts as well. So for example, this one here with Professor David Betts, who is the Professor of War Studies at King's College London. Now, Professor Betts is sure that civil war is coming within the next 5 years to the UK. And that we're past the markers already. That means it can't be stopped. So they have a very interesting conversation there. So you can look through his page and see what comes up as to what you think you might like to listen to. But the one with Professor Betts is a good start. This one here with Ayan Hirsi Ali is a good one to watch. This one here with Victor Davis Hanson about mass deportation and World War III and Trump. I haven't seen that one yet, but I'll watch that one as well. Have a listen to this, and then when you're trying to work out why you feel the way you do, he'll be able to eloquently put things and give you more knowledge to back up your arguments. Okay, the next one is Damn What an Outspoken, which I used to read Dan's column a little bit in The Sun. Again, to work at The Sun, you've got to be really intelligent. They're pumping out news at a rapid pace. People are very bright who work there. And I read his celebrity columns a little bit and music columns back in the day. Now, you'll all know Dan because he used to work at ITV, didn't he? And was a celebrity sort of expert on Lorraine. And he's also worked at GB News, but then he had a fall from grace for a while with his reputation got damaged when he laughed, not like a massive laugh, but a little snigger, or when Lawrence Fox said something about a journalist that was derogatory about a female journalist, and Dan didn't challenge that, and so he ended up, as I understand, getting let free from GB News. Now, what Dan did the next day, he just set up his own podcast on YouTube called Outspoken, and 301 million views already, and 565 subscribers, 2.9 thousand videos. Now, because of Dan's, basically, he's got English parents, I think, but he was born in New Zealand, but he's got British heritage. He's extremely patriotic, he is. Because of Dan's, hardball, hard news kind of training at The Sun, when you've worked at The Sun, you're going to know what you're doing. This is really coming out now. I mean, I'm finding myself, I unsubscribed because I was like, oh, Dan, no. And unsubscribed. And then he keeps coming up on my feed, and I'm like watching it now every day, his stuff. And I'm like, wow, this guy is a brilliant hard news journalist. He's got an amazing team. They are on the ball as if it's like a rolling news channel. I'm just like, wow. He's so intelligent. He really, he's like pulling up all the facts and figures, showing the evidence. He is on the ball, guys, this Dan Wootton. And I think, let's forgive the guy for the little thing that he did back in the day on GB News. This is a small thing compared to this public service that is putting out there right now on the UK civil crisis. Let's call it that for now. This one here, this is in relation to it. He does still talk about the royal family, but, Elon Musk, he's got that there about civil war. This is about sort of civil war and the conflict. Another one there. It's just coming out every day. And he's just on it. He's so on it. And so Dan Wootton, I'd say subscribe to him. And this is where you're going to get the facts, and he's going to say it how it is as well. And at the end of the day, you might not like everything he's putting out, but so what? You don't like everything the BBC's putting out, or ITV's putting out, or Channel 4's putting out, right? So we can't be too, we've got to think like that. The next one is trigonometry. I never used to watch trigonometry. I've only started watching them in 2025, and I don't remember when I first started. But these guys are good. They listen and they don't judge, and they ask good questions as well, and they challenge the person they've got on air. And they're both very different personalities as well. It's nicely complementary. But trigonometry have interviewed some brilliant guests. We've got the David Betts again, the professor of war studies. Absolutely brilliant interview that was. I recommend watching this, their channel as well. Even this one's really good as well. Britain is headed for a financial meltdown with Alistair Heath. Now, Alistair Heath is the Sunday Telegraph editor. Extremely bright man. And Constantine managed to even keep Piers Morgan quiet while he was talking, because obviously Piers was thinking this guy knows what he's talking about, and he let him speak. So Constantine was on Piers' show. Look through what they've got, or just Google what you want to, put trigonometry, Charlie Kirk, or trigonometry, Tommy Robinson, and I recommend watching that one. So it's had 2.1 million views so far. I've watched the whole thing. I recommend watching that as well. Type in trigonometry, Tommy Robinson, it'll come up. And then even their thoughts on it as well. They've done a 1-hour podcast on just what the two presenters think about it. Definitely watch the Tommy one, because he talks for over 2 hours and he knows his full story really well, and you just see him in a different light, the way the mainstream media have painted him. And really, he's been vilified, because obviously originally he was called racist, but then it turned out, well, actually most of the grooming gangs / the word beginning with R, ending with E, with 2 letters in between, is predominantly from Pakistan. So it wasn't racist, was it, against that that tribe of people because it was fact. So therefore, it's not racist. And it can be argued very, very clearly, and that actually the racism came from the fact that 250,000 to 1 million, we're not sure of the number yet, girls, predominantly girls, who were white, have been, the word beginning with R, multiple times, gang-ard. That's racist, right? So really, he deserves an apology. Not going to say his name. TR deserves an apology, really. Now, this is somebody I never even took notice of before. Apart from wondering why he kept getting done for contempt of court, I was like, oh, you need to just read, the books that you can buy online about what to say as a journalist. You can just buy media law books. It tells you all what, about contempt of court. And I learned that at university. And we also had an in-house lawyer as well. So we never got in trouble with contempt of court. But you've got to learn it first. But anybody can learn it. Just buy a book off Amazon. So I sort of took a bit of notice of him then, but not really in detail. And it's only since the R gangs, you know what I mean? I just think calling them grooming gangs not accurate. It's only since that I've taken notice of TR a bit more. And then obviously with what he did with the Unite the Kingdom march. And this interview here that I watched 2 months ago was like, interesting. So now I've got a different opinion of him. And as you can see here, a grooming gang survivor tells her story. I watched that as well. It's terrible what's happened to these girls. They have she was actually sent to prison, even though she was a victim. Anyway, so definitely watch Trigonometry because these guys are credible, right? They're credible. So that's another one to watch. Fast Jet Performance. This is somebody I've just come across recently. And the reason why I like him, Tim Davis, he's 50 years old, but he's your typical British guy that we used to see in the media 20 years ago. But he did work in the RAF, the Royal Air Force, as a pilot, okay, flying jets and as a flying instructor. So he's worked in the military, so he knows what he's talking about, right? Now, there's one thing that Tim says that I don't agree with. One thing. So just because I am, by the way, guys, just because I am saying about these channels doesn't mean I agree with everything they say, because nobody agrees with everything everybody says. That's just silly. But what I liked about this chappy chap is basically everybody was like, oh, we're doomed in the UK. Everything's going downhill. It's too late now. It's too late. But then I came across somebody that I'm going to talk about in a minute saying that 25% roughly of Americans that are Muslim are leaving Islam. And I was like, really? And this American guy's like, yeah, they're not going to take over. Everyone's leaving, blah, blah, blah. And so then because I watched that, then Tim's came up in my feed. And what I liked about him was he was like, yeah, we're English, we're Scottish, we're Irish, we're Welsh. We fight back, we're not taking this. Things have gone too far. And he's just like giving people the power back to not like have this anymore, to not put up with this, to not put up with this ethnocide, to not put up with Islam taking over a Christian country that allows other religions to practice peacefully here. Okay? And he's like rallying people up to basically get a bit of confidence back in yourself, get a bit of fight back, get a bit of just reminders of our roots. England has not lost a war on our own land since 1066. Remember that, yeah? Because let's be real, a lot of these people coming in, what are they doing? I think a lot of them are going to wage some sort of war on us, right? I think that's coming. And we're just letting them in. We're not even stopping the boats on the beach. It's mental. So we need to prepare ourselves. And frankly, we prepare ourselves and nothing happens, great. What have we done? We've got fitter, we've got healthier, we've got more mentally agile. We've learned skills to protect ourselves in self-defense. We need to protect ourselves. We need to take agency for ourselves. And this guy is really like reminding us, we're English, you know, we're Scottish, we're Irish, we're Welsh. And, you know, 100 years ago, the British Empire was ruling 25% of the world. And in the last 20 years, and particularly the last 6 years, it's gone right downhill. So what I like about that, it brings it back. So yeah, 1066 was the last time the English lost a war. And let me tell you why they lost it, guys. So the English army were fighting in the north of England against the Vikings that had come in on the River Humber. Then they actually won. They beat the Vikings. Then, literally, within a month, like a week or two later, down south, the French invaded. The French invaded. And so the army had to walk 200 miles, battered, bruised, injured, tired, hungry. The weapons weren't sharp anymore. You know, can you imagine beating the Vikings and how difficult that is? And then walking down 200 miles with not even, you know, strong trainers on. And even then, you're still going to get blisters. So they're walking probably in these sandal kind of things, I don't know, and fighting a brand new, fit, healthy army that had not just been in a war. And so they lost. They lost in 1066, right? They lost. But that was the last time it ever happened. So, you know, this is about 1,000 years ago. And he's like reminding us this. He's reminding us this, that come on, let's not just all go, oh, well, never mind, and let Sharia take over. Because there's stats out there showing that a lot of Muslims do want Sharia. Now, a lot of Muslims definitely do not. So anyway, I like the way he's mentally preparing people and also showing the facts of what's going on. You know, showing the facts. Definitely follow him, Fast Jet Performance. The next one is, so this is the one I was just talking about. Now, I haven't seen a lot of his videos, but this is the one that he's saying things like people are leaving Islam in America and they're not following it anymore. And then this guy here, now, I only came across him recently, but I've watched a few of his videos. What Liam does is, he asks the questions, and he does ask really good questions. His questions are really good. And his guests are pretty good as well. Now, I haven't watched them all, as you can see. Threatened to death for leaving Islam with Momus Najmi. That was a good one, actually. Oh, this one's a good one. Hamas terrorists did this to me. Survivor Tal Hartov relives the story. That's a really good interview. I definitely recommend watching that. And he gets pretty good people on. I've started watching this year Andrew Gold on YouTube. His podcast is called Heretics. That's interesting. He's got some very interesting guests on there. He's uncovered a lot of very sad and evil acts that have helped me increase my knowledge on certain matters. Definitely credit to Andrew and his team and the work they've put in. So that's another one that I think you can watch, and it's going to be credible, and Andrew is a trained journalist as well. They're my recommendations, but what I would say also is pick your favourite mainstream media, okay? And then when you're looking at all this other stuff, just check out, I mean, I'm still going to be looking at the BBC all day, right? I'm still going to be doing that because I want to see how they're covering stuff. And because they are accurate, just that they're taking a different angle with stuff at the moment. Like, they never called this guy who, you know, attacked the synagogue in Manchester, they never called him an Islamist terrorist. They just said Manchester synagogue attacker. So I think they've been advised to use new language. I know that if I'm looking at some on the BBC, it's going to be factual. One thing you need to do is double source. You've got to double source stuff all the time to make sure it's accurate. And I know they all double source because I used to work there. You know, I still go on the BBC as an expert, and I get my clients on there. For this current crisis, I don't think it's the best place that's giving you all the facts, but I think it's still good to go and see how they're covering it, so you can see, why are they covering it like that? Or why aren't they covering it enough? What is going on? So pick your other favourite mainstream one. I just want to pay my respects to some other people that have that I haven't mentioned on social media yet. But what I'm not going to do is, so many people are dying and getting abused. I just, like, I'm not going to do every single one, because you need to be following Dan Wootton at GB News for that. That's, you know, that's what they're paid to do, and that's what they're doing very well. But I just want to pay my respects, because I want to pay my respects to Rhiannon White, the young woman that was working in a migrant hotel, and then this asylum seeker from Sudan murdered her. And he stabbed her 23 times with a screwdriver. Can you imagine how painful that was? He was doing it in a brain, in a head, in a skull. But because it's quite blunt, like the agony, you just go to work and you're helping these people and they stab you to death. Yeah, I'm just sickened by that. Has Keir Starmer said anything about that? Guys, let me know in the comments. Has he said anything? So I want to pay my respects to that lady. And I think, you know, it's a wake-up. Really, why doesn't everyone just say, look, I'm not going to work in it. I'm not going to work in one of these hotels. I'm not going to work in these places where the migrants are. Why don't you do that? Put your tools down and refuse to work there, because it's absolutely dangerous. Look on GB News, the people that they've got in there. It shows you, like, their Snapchat reel, and it shows you them, like, in, what country was it? Was it Syria? One guy had, like, this machete, he had a rifle, automatic gun, and you're like, Christ almighty. And these are the people that are in these places. They're very violent in nature, some of them, not all of them, but many of them. And so I wouldn't put my life in danger for what, £15 an hour or something like that? Just go work somewhere else, guys. And then that'll put the government in crisis, won't it, when no one's going to look after these people. Then we had Wayne Broadhurst, who was killed the other day, stabbed loads of times on the road whilst he was walking his dog. I saw the video, it was just like, oh my God. That would never have happened if they hadn't deported people, because that guy was an Afghan national, came in a lorry illegally, and then they decide, oh, we're going to give you asylum. And so then he was living illegally. They need to deport these people. A lot of them are lying anyway. I've seen videos of them saying how they're lying to the immigration officers to get asylum. I also want to pay my respects to, although he hasn't died, fortunately, Shahzad Farouk and his 14-year-old son. Now, they will both be Muslim. Well, they're from Pakistan, so I don't know if they're practicing or not. And I don't know why that has happened, but they housed the Afghan national that's now up for murder of Wayne Broadhurst, and for stabbing, attempted murder of these two. So, it's affecting everybody, isn't it? And then at the same time, when I was talking about Wayne, news came out about Javinder Johal, known as Danny, a father of 3, and he's only 37. He went to the bank in Derby in May this year, the 6th of May, in broad daylight. Mohammed went in there and he just stabbed him to death. So I think this guy that was killed must be Sikh, but he could be Hindu. I mean, you're just walking down the street now. You're in the bank, and they're just randomly. You're in a hotel working. They're just killing everybody. So I want to pay my respects to Mr. Johal and his family. Just give, so my heart to you guys, that I'm watching, I'm listening. I'm not happy about it. Okay, so they're the places, guys, that I think you should watch. Do watch one mainstream media as well, though, for some balance and just to see how they're covering things. But GB News is mainstream media, right? But it's right-leaning. So get yourself some balance as well with another one. And just for interest as well. Like I said, I'm looking at the BBC app. I don't know, probably 15 times a day I'm looking at it. But I still like ITV News. Thanks for supporting me in trying to get the truth out there. My heart's with everybody in Britain right now that is on the side of good, trying to combat the evil that is in that country, with us just letting random people in and not doing anything about it. You know, do you think Trump had let people board his beaches? You know, like, do you think people from World War II would have let people just come in on boats? Do you think Churchill would have let people come in, the enemy? No, he wouldn't, would he? And sometimes I think, is a political system working? Not just about trying to know about this channel, that this is where I'm going to be showing you the facts and the figures. You know, I'm watching out for you. So if you haven't subscribed yet and you're still watching, please hit that subscribe button and let me know what you think in the comments about the media that I've already said. And if there's any more that I haven't said that are really good as well, they're the ones that I've seen and that I just think, yeah, I'm learning something here. I'm learning something about history and not repeating itself. I'm getting the facts and figures. This is just commentary today, just helping you see the truth so you're not getting gaslit or getting the wool pulled over your eyes. Thanks for watching and thanks for listening. Make sure you're subscribed. It'll help me get really great guests for you. Let me know in the comments who you'd like me to interview, what you want to talk about. But I've already got a massive list of stuff that we're going to talk about. And this video coming up now is something that you might like to watch next. Stay safe, guys.